Eight hours 34 downtown Georgetown. It's a beautiful Friday morning on the outside. I just went out there, checked it out. Sun shining. Weather's great. In studio with me this morning, I got a man. I don't even need to introduce this guy right here. Last year we spoke to him about disaster preparedness and disaster management. His name is Major, ladies. Major Craig. Actually, Major Kester Craig. He works at the Civil Defense Commission. And he's attached to, ladies, you ready for this one? You ready for this one? The guy in the Defense Force. So if you're a major, you got to know all the information about what we're going to talk about this morning. And this morning we're talking about disaster, disaster preparedness.
Yes.
And Guyana is doing something called the International Day for Disaster Reduction 2012 Symposium.
Yes.
And this happens today at the International Convention Center from 10 hours this morning until about 12 hours 30. And we're talking with Major Kester Craig. Good morning to you, Major.
Good morning, Casual. Good morning, Guyana.
How are you?
I'm very good this morning.
It's been a year since we spoke.
Yes.
How much have we changed, or how much have we evolved since last year?
We've evolved significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Since our last discussion here, we've developed several plans, we've developed policies, and we've trained people in all the regions in disaster risk management.
Mm-hmm.
So we continue to develop and continue to build our capacity to respond to disaster.
So disaster, last year you taught me, is defined,
Yes.
really, there's a very thin line between disaster and a hazard.
Yes.
So give us a little information as to how do we differentiate between disaster and hazards.
Generally, we think a flood, a drought, a hurricane is a disaster, but that's not a disaster, it's a hazard.
Mm-hmm.
When the hazard like the hurricane impact our vulnerability, such for instance, or flooding impact our vulnerability, for instance the fact that we are below sea level, it becomes flooding, and then when it exceeds your capacity to cope with it, it becomes a disaster. So for example, at the level of your home, if your house is on fire and you can't cope with it, you need external assistance like the fire service, it's now a disaster for you. And likewise for the country, if the country cannot cope with the flooding and need external assistance, it's a disaster for the country.
Gotcha. So we need to be careful how we
Definitely.
define disaster.
Definitely.
Speaking about disaster, today at the International Convention Center, you're getting the assistance of the female gender of the Guyanese nation to help you out to launch the Civil Defense Commission Volunteer Corps, as well as International Day for Disaster.
Yes.
How do the women play a role this year?
Okay, every year on the 13th of October since 2009, there's International Day for Disaster Reduction. And every year the focus is different. Last year was on children and this year is on women and girls. And the theme this year is Women and Girls, the Invisible Force of Resilience. And why we say invisible, it doesn't mean that they're not visible, but the work that they're doing is not being recognized. And also women are the agents of change. They are mothers, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're activists. So they could make change in the country, in the world, when it comes to disaster reduction.
Because the person you would rather hear about this from would be your mom.
Definitely.
So mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, they can all play a role this year.
Definitely.
How do we involve them?
Well, I'm asking all the women and the girls, and male also, so they need to learn, to come down to the International Convention Center from 10 to 12:30 hours today to learn of what they can do to reduce risks. We're having a symposium and we're showcasing international best practices and also local practices on what can be done to reduce risk. So come on down there and you will get to learn a lot about risk reduction. Also, the Volunteer Corps will be launching, and almost 50% of the Volunteer Corps are girls and women.
Nice.
And they play an integral role, as a matter of fact, they play an integral role in the actual planning of this event today. So we ask the women and the girls to come down and be part of this.
Now, Major Craig, you said volunteer. A lot of people like getting involved. How do we become a member of or get involved with the Civil Defense Commission Volunteer Corps?
But firstly, you can come down to the Civil Defense Commission head office on Thomas Lands and apply for form. Also, in a couple of days, we'll be launching our website, and you can also like us on your Facebook page. And also you could come down today at the International Convention Center and collect forms and get to talk to the volunteers. And coming very soon, late in the year, we're planning a camp.
Volunteer camp.
A volunteer camp to take care of the town for 2 days and teach you things like disaster management, first aid, how to operate a radio, how to operate a boat, and all these things. You come out there and learn how to do these things,
Nice.
male and female.
But not in the army setting though.
Similar.
Boot camp.
Similar.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Major Kester Craig, and he's telling us about all the information that we need to know about disasters, hazards, and making sure you guys get an opportunity to come down to the International Convention Center today for the International Disaster Reduction Symposium and the launch of the Civil Defense Commission.
Okay.
Now you can be a part of this, Mr. Craig said, by picking up a form.
Definitely.
It's as simple as that.
Simple as that.
Anything else you want to add today?
I must say, you could start reducing risk by stop littering.
I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that. Pick it up. 8 hours 40 in the morning time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Major Kester Craig. Make sure you guys check him out for yourself at the International Convention Center today from 10 hours. It's casual in the morning times. 8 hours 40. Here's that new Shelly G.